Welcome back to Grammar Grade 10. This is Unit 3, Lesson 20, and today we're looking at one of the most useful little tools in the language, the appositive. It's the move writers use to slip an extra fact into a sentence without starting a whole new one. And it comes with a comma rule that trips up an enormous number of people. By the end of today, you'll know exactly when those commas belong and exactly when to leave them out. Let's get into it. Let's meet the appositive. Here's a sentence. My uncle, a beekeeper, sells honey. Look at the two ends first. My uncle is the subject, and sells honey is what he does. Now look at the middle. The words a beekeeper sit right next to the noun my uncle, and they rename him. That is an appositive. An appositive is a noun or a pronoun placed right beside another noun or pronoun to identify it or to explain it. Notice that a beekeeper does not add a second person here. It simply tells you more about the person already standing there. Same person, extra detail. An appositive identifies or explains the noun that sits next to it. Now let's stretch that idea, because most of the time, an appositive brings friends along. Look at this one. Ravi, the fastest swimmer on the team, qualified. The bare appositive there is the single noun swimmer. But swimmer is dressed up with modifiers, the and fastest and on the team. Put the appositive together with everything that modifies it, and you get an appositive phrase. Here's a longer one. Her novel, A Strange and Beautiful Ghost Story, won. That whole chunk is one appositive phrase, and it renames the noun novel. So an appositive can be one bare word or a whole handful of words. Either way, its job never changes. It renames the noun sitting beside it. Here is the punctuation rule, and honestly, it's the whole reason this lesson exists. Before you reach for a comma, ask yourself one question. Is the appositive essential to identify the noun? If it is not essential, if the sentence already points to exactly one person or one thing without it, then the appositive is bonus information, and you set it off with commas. My sister, a pilot, flies cargo planes. I have only one sister, so a pilot is extra, and the commas quietly say so. But if the appositive is essential, if you truly need it to know which one, then it takes no commas whatsoever. The poet Basho wrote haiku. There are thousands of poets, so the name is doing the identifying work, and it stays glued to the noun. Non-essential, commas. Essential, no commas. So how do you decide in real time whether an appositive is essential? Use the lifted out test. Cover the appositive with your thumb, read the sentence without it, and then ask, do I still know exactly who or what we are talking about? If the answer is yes, if the sentence is still perfectly clear, then the appositive was only extra, and you fence it off with commas. Try it. My sister flies cargo planes. I still know precisely who, my one and only sister. So a pilot was never needed, and it earns its commas. Now the other way. The poet wrote haiku. Which poet? The sentence has gone vague, so the name was carrying essential weight, and it gets no commas. Lift it out. Still clear? Comma it off. Let's slow down on the essential kind, because that's exactly where writers slip. My cousin Diego lives in Lisbon. I happen to have 4 cousins, so the words my cousin on their own tell you nothing about which one I mean. Diego does. That name is essential. It identifies, and so it takes no commas. Here's another. The novelist Aurelia Vance signs books today. Ask yourself, which novelist? Without the name, the sentence is just a shrug. The name is carrying the identification, so it stays glued to the noun, comma-free. Watch how often this pattern shows up. A name landing right after a word, like cousin, friend, poet, or novelist. That pattern is usually essential, and it usually wants no commas at all.
Now here's the part that surprises people. Those commas actually change what a sentence means. Read the first one. My brother, comma, Diego, comma, lives in Lisbon. Those commas quietly announce that the name is extra, which tells your reader, I must have exactly one brother, and I'm simply mentioning what he's called. Now read the second. My brother, Diego, lives in Lisbon, with no commas anywhere. That version says the name is doing identifying work, which tells your reader, I have more than one brother, and Diego is the one I mean. Same 6 words, 2 completely different families. The commas are not decoration. They carry meaning, so place them on purpose. Let's turn all of that into a 3-step check you can run on any sentence at all. Step 1. Find the noun. Then look for a second noun sitting right beside it. That second noun is your appositive. Step 2. Lift the appositive out with your thumb and reread the sentence without it. Step 3. Ask, do I still know exactly who or what? If yes, the appositive was only extra, so you set it off with commas. If no, the appositive is essential, so you leave the commas out entirely. 3 steps and the punctuation decides itself. Ready to practice? In this first set, I'll give you a sentence and you find the appositive phrase, the group of words that renames the noun beside it. Pause the video and choose before I reveal each answer. Mrs. Alvarez, our school librarian, ordered new atlases. Hunt for the noun sitting beside another noun. Mrs. Alvarez is the subject, and ordered new atlases is what she did. The words, our school librarian, sit right next to her name and rename her, so the appositive phrase is our school librarian. We visited Kyoto, a city of quiet gardens. Which chunk of this sentence renames a noun? Kyoto is the noun, and a city of quiet gardens sits right beside it, telling us more about that same place. So the appositive phrase is a city of quiet gardens. The winner, a first-year runner from Maine, smiled. The noun here is the winner, and the verb is smiled. Everything sitting between those commas renames the winner. So the appositive phrase is a first-year runner from Maine. Now for the punctuation. Each sentence in this set has an appositive with no commas around it yet. Run the lift it out test and decide, is it essential, meaning no commas, or non-essential, meaning we add the commas? Pause and try each one before I answer. The chemist Ada Reyes solved the puzzle. Lift the name out. The chemist solved the puzzle. Which chemist? We have no idea because the name was doing the identifying. That makes it essential, and essential appositives take no commas. The answer is essential, no commas. Rome, the capital of Italy, sits on 7 hills. Lift the appositive out. Rome sits on 7 hills. Do we still know exactly which place? Of course we do, because there is only one Rome. That means the capital of Italy is extra information, and it needs commas around it. The answer is non-essential, add commas. The playwright Nia Okafor rewrote the ending. Run the test. The playwright rewrote the ending. Which playwright? The sentence slides straight into vagueness without that name, so the name is essential. It gets no commas. So the answer here is essential, no commas. Let's gather it all up. An appositive is a noun or a pronoun placed right beside another noun to identify it or to explain it, like my uncle, a beekeeper. An appositive phrase is that appositive plus every modifier it drags along, like the fastest swimmer on the team. And all the punctuation comes down to a single question. Can you lift it out and still know exactly who or what? If yes, the appositive is non-essential, so you set it off with commas. If no, it's essential, and it takes no commas at all. Run the lift it out test on your own writing this week, and the commas will start placing themselves. In our next lesson, we'll meet participles and participial phrases. I'll see you there.